Hello Minecrafters, I'm Adam Antarks and this is Minecraft Survival 102. I'd like to show you something today that has greatly improved my life, at least in Minecraft, and that is a minecart elevator. There are other tutorials to show you how to build these, of course, and you can find plenty of them out there in internet land on YouTube. I looked at one myself to learn this build, so I go ahead and freely admit that I am reinventing the wheel here, but maybe I can explain it a little differently than the last person, although I think they did a perfectly good job. I just wanted to talk about how I incorporate this into my base, because after all, there can't be enough YouTube videos. Well, maybe there can, but hey. What is a minecart elevator? A minecart elevator is essentially a device for moving you up primarily. It's easy to move down. You just make a quick drop. So it's more like a one-way up elevator, although it can be used to move down. You can move up very quickly with a minecart elevator using the functionality of minecarts in the game. How is a minecart in Minecraft designed? Why don't we go and look at one that is on the ground? So here's a minecart. You saw me make one earlier, but I can review that. Imagine that these stone bricks are actually iron ingots. You just put them in that formation right there, and it will make you a minecart. Makes sense, right? Kind of like a bucket, except with those two corner pieces input. So here is a minecart. If I right-click that minecart, or whatever button is the same as place block, I am in that minecart. This little device is actually very similar to a minecart elevator. It is for livestock. It's kind of annoying. I don't want to get a million eggs by jumping in there, so let's try the one with cattle. Same idea. I'm going to jump in. This way I can breed and kill cattle, and when I want to get out, I just go over here, right-click the minecart, and I'm out. And so it pulls me right into the minecart. My sheep farm is based on the same basic build. Now, we can use that same functionality to move up. And I am maybe about a quarter of the way through building this one. And actually, I was just building it for fun. And then I thought, hey, while I'm building this, I should make a minecart video. I'm wanting to build a vertical base. So I want all of my different major important sort of parts, my villager trading, my vault, I want them to be at different levels of the base. And it will, of course, go straight down to my level 11 mine. This is the same place that I have been building before in previous videos in the single player world. And if you go back and watch my videos, you can actually see the whole thing from the start. From the time that I was dropped in this world by myself. So essentially, I guess what I've inadvertently made here is an entire Minecraft walkthrough. Anyway, if I right click, what you see there is actually the bottom of a minecart, and it is held into place. It seems to be floating in midair. It's held in place, of course, by these bricks around it, but it's held up by that piece of ladder underneath it. But I can right click the bottom of that, and now I'm in it. Now, if you just place this one with 3 spaces between, 1, 2, 3, this next one, you can right click it. Now you leave the other minecart and you are in the next minecart. If you just hold that button down, as you can see, you go incredibly fast. In fact, doing this, if someone were in creative mode beside me and they were ascending through the air by holding down their jump key, I would outrun them by far using this even in survival mode. When you exit the minecart, you will land on safe ground, but this might make some skittish, so you may want to build more of a larger floor around this. This won't be so scary in the end because this tower will have floors about every 8 to 15 blocks, depending on what's needed at each floor. Anyway, as for the design itself, why don't we continue? The first thing I did was to just jump straight up and place a column of block. And you're looking at that column of block right there. It goes right down the center of my tower. So that is there. Then, as I built that up, about every 3 blocks, I would build and then I would place ladder. Build, place ladder. And so I have a ladder to get to the parts for now. This is going to turn into a quick drop eventually, and I will get rid of those ladders. But for now, I'm using it as my climbing device to get up there to add the real climbing device, which will of course be the minecart elevator. So let's keep going. You can watch me build. I'll narrate as we go. I'll probably mess up a few times. That's part of Minecraft. That's okay, but fingers crossed. So the first thing to do, you'll notice the ladder's in place. So as I go up, I'm building this 3 up, right, or 3 blocks between. And then what I'm doing is I'm going here. I'll build one from scratch in a moment, show you the whole process of building a floor. I like to go out. I guess you could just go and just put a rail there, but I like to go out so I can get behind the minecart. I like to sneak and push it, so I place it on the rail, and then I like to crouch and push just a little. Easy does it. And sometimes it drops down. When it drops down, it tends to straighten, right? Sometimes it might be at a slight angle. But usually, it'll form about a 90-degree perpendicular angle in that slot, which is just what you need. And there's another floor made. Let's go on up. I would sing the Jefferson song right now, moving on up, but I'm not because I'm a terrible singer. I'll spare you. But I'm moving on up. I don't know if I'm moving up to the east side, but let's keep on going. Moving up, moving up. Let's look at the whole process. So imagine that we have nothing, which up here we don't, really, except for the central column and our ladders. I'm crouching and climbing because you don't want to fall down there. See the lovely sheep farm? You can review a previous video to see how we built that, actually. Advertising my other videos as we go. 1, 2, 3, right there. You want to count and double count. If you mess up on one and it's off, everything else will be off. So you don't want to mess up. You want to do each one by one and measure it out. Now what I tend to do is I will just go and put a whole bunch of these things in first. I like to kind of take more of a mass production approach and just do all of these and then come back and do all the minecarts. But you can do it either way. From here, I'm actually going to place these there. Makes it a little bit safer, and there's going to be a quick drop there eventually anyway, so it will work. Here we are at minecart level. I like to put a torch there to light it up. I don't know if I did that on the previous floor. Did I? Yes, I did. I'm doubting myself too much. I don't think I talked about doing it though. Just light it up a little. Alright. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Right there. You want to do on the 4th block, so there's a gap of 3 between the 2 floors. This gives you that perfect distance. Right? And then the ladder goes one underneath the floor, right there, to hold it. A lot of people make the mistake of putting the ladder there. If you do that, the minecart will not go down in the hole. You got to put it right there so it drops down and then gets caught right here and it's flush. Okay. So we've done a couple of these and just repeat. It's just repetition from there, people. So let's go here and do the same thing. I like to torch it. That also helps you kind of count because you can see easily that first block. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just part of my routine. Torch, build, ladder. Go. And then the back blocks. Back block, block, back. Say that 10 times fast. Back block. It's not a black block, although those exist too. You can build it out of those if you want. Torch. Torch. 1, 2, 3. There might be a school of thought that would say, hey, place the minecarts as you go, then you have your climbing device as you go. But I've done that before, but I think I'm happy with this build as it is. Let's go ahead and place a few of those minecarts. Okay, I'll do them out of order. Just build where I am. Let's go here, place a block, place a minecart. Scoot forward with a crouch very slowly. Just bump that baby forward. It'll almost always angle, but then it usually falls right in and straightens out. Sometimes if you crouch, you can get close enough to grab that dirt block, but if you don't, if you come down every now and then, you can collect dirt blocks that fall. I have so many stacks of dirt that I don't care, and that's why dirt is my scaffolding of choice. I'm going to drop down here. It'd be lovely to die in one of my videos. Huh? There's our ladder, as usual. Right here, give myself a little push space, place the rail, place the minecart on the rail. One thing to pay attention to, I suppose, is the direction that rail naturally goes. There are ways to force the rail to go another way, of course, so it's not really a problem. But I tend to build mine on, you know, the north-south sort of approach so that it's easy the first time. Naturally, rails place north to south if you just place one isolated by itself. But that can be adjusted. That's not an obstacle, really, just a hindrance. There we go. There's another one looking good. Let's just work our way down and do one more, and then this little video will be over. No reason for you to have to watch me do God knows how many more of these. Let's see, right there's nudge her in sometimes. I'm gonna mess up on purpose. Oh, I didn't even mess up on purpose. I guess I'm that good. Sometimes it goes over, and when it does, you just go over here to the far side, you smash it with your pick or your sword or the implement of your choice, and you just pick it up and redo it. It's that easy. It's no big deal. If it falls, you can just go down to the base and get it. Let's do one more. Here we go. That's what I said earlier. Dirt block out. Rail down. I'll go ahead and expend all of these. And nudge it in. Crouching, pushing. Just a slight push at a time. Just barely tapping that forward button and... Ha ha ha! Now that one didn't go. Now sometimes you can push back like this and it drops. Aha! And there we go. There we go. Nice. Well, I think we have one left, don't we? I don't know why I'm asking you. You're a YouTube viewer. You can't talk back to me. Or at least you can, but I can't hear you. Let's do one more. I hear you. Leave a comment. Talk to me. Right there. Oh, I went too fast. I got in a hurry. Last one. The pressure was mounting. Come on, baby. Sometimes I'm glad this is happening. I want you to see this. If this happens to you, you're probably not doing anything wrong. Sometimes they're just stubborn, and you just have to sort of work with it. You can kind of hit it at an angle, straighten it up a little, nudge it in, and there it goes. That happens. You'll get better at it as you work at it. God, the first one I ever did of these was murder. It took me so long. It took me like 8 tries. I was like, I'm not doing this again. But the more you do it, the better you get at it, and the easier it gets. I can usually get them by the second try. I usually get them on the first try. But it's just like anything. Practice makes perfect. Let's do some ladder rappelling. A little dangerous. Don't want to run into my own block there. Get past it, and then, woo, come on. Oh yeah, right there. Hey, look at you. How did you get in here, little guy? I can tell you exactly how he got in here. I've never had a monster spawn in my base until now, and I know why he got here. He got here because of this tower not being lit at the top. I'm just glad that wasn't a creeper. Let's go and fix that. I could use my elevator, but I just want to get up here to the edge. I'm building a tower that has a that starts narrow and gets wider, by the way, if you're curious. And it's right up here that he spawned. I have been just using my bed as I go with this build, so this doesn't happen. But I got into making this video. Got some little visitors. It's okay. I can use the bone meal. Alright, now we're well lit enough. That shouldn't be happening again. Life is good. Let's just dig on back down. Too lazy to switch up to my shovel. Sometimes maybe it's a graphics glitch, but if you dig with like an efficiency 4 shovel like I have and you're digging down, the block doesn't fully process out. And so you're stuck in an invisible block and you have to log out of the game to fix it. Got an arrow in me as I sleep. I don't think in real life sleeping with an arrow in your arm would be very doable. But hey, this is Minecraft, right? Anyway, or an arrow in your neck for that matter. Life is good. Our minecart elevator is coming along. As you can see, I've run out of minecarts. So some things to think about when you make this build. One thing to think about is how much iron do you have? I've been doing a lot of mining and I have a ton of iron. And if you really want to go all out for iron, it's very doable if you have some villager trading going on and you're good at villager breeding to make an iron golem iron farm. That can be done. You can look those up on YouTube later. I'll make a tutorial for that, although I obviously haven't done that yet. Or just good old-fashioned mining. I got all of this just mining down at level 11 looking for diamond and getting this along the way. I have plenty of iron to work with, and so I can make plenty of these right here, just like that. If you're making a whole lot of stuff, the easiest thing to do is to just spread it like that and just go. Let's just hold down shift and make a whole bunch of them. We are going to need tons. Let's see here. Okay, looking good. So now I can go back up and put these in place and just keep rocking with this project and until I have a full minecart elevator. What that'll allow me to do, in my case you can use it for whatever you want. In the short term, this will allow me to build the rest of this tower. Like I was saying, this tower is going to kind of tier out. I've done some castle builds sort of based on this design. And eventually it's going to get to where it's 25 blocks in diameter. It starts at 17 blocks in diameter, and then it gets up to 19 blocks, and what you see there is 21 blocks. Eventually it'll just sort of evenly spread out until at even intervals until it's about 25 blocks in diameter, and that will be most of the tower size. And I'll probably taper it off at the top or do a cool castle type design. And it will be both a functional and hopefully beautiful base. Anyway, that's that. My name is Adam Antarks. This has been Minecraft, if I can remember the name of my own program. This has been Minecraft Survival 102. I wish you the best, and as always, I wish you happy Minecrafting.